Today I'd like to talk about what being a shaman is and what it isn't. What it isn't is a lifestyle. It isn't clothing options. It isn't what you eat or where you live or the color of your skin or how many feathers you wear in your hair. That's all superficial nonsense. So more importantly, obviously, is what shamanism is and what being a shaman is. So to create a context for that, the individual self, as it's described, would be like the tip of the iceberg in the entirety of that energetic system, that individuated energetic system. The subconscious or superconscious or soul is all the rest of that psychic material that is bound to the physical manifestation of the individual physical self. So most people typically are unaware of their connection to their soul. And because of that, they live unconsciously informed by the material of the soul. So through the process of self-inquiry and healing, the emotional, psychic baggage and belief systems that create a clouding of the connection from the individual self to the awareness of the soul, it begins to thin out, to dissolve. And so at a point when the awareness of the individuated physical self becomes of the soul, there's a certain point when we could say that that the shaman emerges. And so it's not like in Western culture we say, here's your degree, now you're a doctor, or you graduated high school, or you turned 18 and now you're an adult. It's not, because those are kind of stupid concepts anyway. I mean, as a doctor, when they have a degree or when they have enough experience not to hurt people, are you an adult just because of your chronological tick mark, or are you an adult when over long periods of trial and error you realize that you need to be responsible for yourself? So being a shaman is not a matter of graduating into a discrete level of personality or being. It's like when you plant a seed, at what moment does that sprout become a tree? There's not a moment. It's a process. It's a gradual it's a gradual growing into. And yet, when you look at a bunch of plants in various stages, you say, well, these are obviously trees, these are obviously sprouts, and then there's the middle where it's, could go either way, it's arguable. And so what it is to be a shaman is the fading out of the individuated physical self and merging that energy back into the soul, which is typically a gradual process. And so shaman is less of, like I said, it's not a lifestyle, it's nothing, all these things that people associate and try to make assumptions. Shaman is a phase of the individual self as seen from the outside as it is connecting to the soul. And so so that of itself, I think, is important for people to understand, is that shaman is just something that other people call you when they notice that you're connecting to your soul. And they, some people get that it indicates by superficial things, but most of the time it indicates because a wisdom beyond normal, something that surprises you, like a deeper wisdom emerges from that person, not because that person is special, but because the soul is special, the soul that we all have that can come through. Now, having said all that, I think another thing that's really important to distinguish is that the word shaman is a cultural word from a very specific part of the world. It's I should have checked this ahead of time. I think it's Siberian. It's a form of Russian. Anyway, it's basically the medicine men from that part of the world. In their language, they called shaman. But, the medicine men in China and India and Peru and Canada and even, like the Nordic medicine men, they all had different names that were not shaman, but they're medicine men because they lived in a way that was informed by their soul. And because of that mode of living, they were able to translate beneficial, benevolent, enlightened information into the world. Now, again, I think that it's important to make it clear that while the word shaman is a very specific, has very specific origin, in modern nomenclature, we say shaman is, and the way that I'm using it, is anybody who is connected to their soul in past a point, a certain point of trusting in it, that it flows to some degree, and when it starts, like I said, it's arguable if you want to. But as in a conversation previously, the idea that a shaman is somehow like wears a like a leopard skin and smokes tobacco, it's not true, because there is no exclusivity to this process. And in fact, if you take the factor of time out of it, everybody's a shaman. Everybody's connected to their soul at some point in various stages of growth. And even people that you might not really typically associate with these practices, like Christian faith healers, if they are legitimately, lovingly, and sincerely connecting to their soul with the, just on the scaffolding of the Christian faith and using it to heal people, then they are just as much as a shaman as anybody else. I think that even some DJs can be shaman. Artists like Rupert Spire talks about Bach and Mozart being able to connect to that cosmic unconscious and bring such a deep presence into the world that it inspires people, and that itself is a very loving act. And so those great composers are shaman. So it's really not about where you come from, what you look like. It's even less about what you do. It's more about your relationship with yourself than anything. And then, as an inevitable consequence of your relationship with yourself, you feel compelled by your soul to act on behalf of the well-being of humanity and all life.